enormous deposit into the goodwill account of their marriage. He just needed to hear it. That's how it usually worked, anyway. But this summer's trip was different, because it was 3 times as long as their usual trips, and there would be a camera following them around this time. It was the Bright Family ×3, the movie. And it was going to be a lot for non-Brights. Ian knew that already. He'd attended enough of these family events, as the spouse to the second of 4 larger-than-life Bright brothers, to know what he was getting into. "Thank you," Spencer muffled from the walk-in. He was selecting blazers. Spencer always packed blazers for the country, which drove Ian mad, as if, at any moment, they might need to host a campaign rally or fundraising gala from the woods. When you grow up with a U.S. senator as a father, life is a stage for which one must always be appropriately costumed. Ian thought it was charming nearly all of the time, except when they were actually with all of Spencer's family. Then it was too much. "Say it again," Ian yelled. "Thank you. Once more. Thank you, you sadist." "You're welcome." 2. "I think this is exactly what we need, don't you?" Mary Beth patted her husband JJ's thigh just as his foot pressed harder on the gas pedal. She could feel the muscles beneath his chinos shift in sync with the transmission. JJ Bright nodded and smiled faintly, eyes on the road. "What do you guys think?" Mary Beth spun around and looked at her twin teenage sons, Lucas and Cameron, both deaf to her at that moment, their heads moving almost imperceptibly to the sounds coming in through their headphones. Lucas nodded in her direction. Cameron looked down at the screen of his phone and laughed. They were enormous mirror images of each other, obviously formed from the same genetic clay as their father in the front seat. Sometimes Mary Beth felt her breath catch when she took in the substantiality of these humans she'd borne and the man she'd married. Everyone around her was giant and hungry, fresh sweat stinking and throbbing with an energy that could build civilizations and start epic wars. All these overwhelming men relying on her, Mary Beth. "Yeah, this will be fun," JJ said finally. "Just what we need." "Once the boys are on the plane for their soccer trip, we can just float on the lake, read books in the sun. When was the last time it was just you and me without the boys?" JJ looked in the rearview mirror and smiled. "Unfortunately, it's not going to be that kind of vacation. Not with my parents and brothers and their spouses there. Plus, there's this documentarian." "Oh, right. I forgot." Mary Beth hadn't forgotten the documentary. She'd been obsessing over it for weeks now, ever since her father-in-law told them that there would be cameras following them around at the lake house for a documentary series on the personal lives of political figures. She wanted to be cool about it. The Bright men certainly would be. But how to be cool when you know you're on camera all the time? It was thrilling and terrifying to imagine all the bad angles they'd catch, all the awkward moments. Bathing suits and puffy morning eyes, exposed bra straps and chipping manicures. God, Mary Beth wasn't suited for this sort of thing. And yet, she couldn't wait for it. To be watched all the time? It aroused something inside her that she hadn't known was there. "I don't think it will be too imposing," JJ said with confidence. "Remember, the camera is really there for my dad. They want to get a peek behind the curtain and see what he's working on for a second act, I think. It will be a little weird, but we aren't the subjects. Just try to ignore it." JJ knew about things like this, having grown up with some degree of political celebrity. If anything impressed or intimidated him, Mary Beth didn't know of it. Her JJ, for John Jr., was the oldest of the 4 sons of now-retired Senator John Bright of Massachusetts. JJ